Cheese, no design on my jacket. Work hard, now I'm changing my bracket. Talk tough, we ain't hearing that racket. Dots came in, you know how to stack it. Don't take it wrong, but I'ma need my ends though. I got tigers on my chest like Kenzo. Rail came, yeah, he putting that Benz though. Carol's here, man, you know he stay 10 toes. Big dog, man, you know I ain't worried. Bent up, so I'm talking real slurry. Got a blast, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is Adam Caplan, the voice in your ears with AC Radio. We got an action-packed show. Why? Because I'm hitting you with a double header this week. First time we're doing it in AC Radio history. I'm pumped for it, ready to go. We had that Jake Paul episode that is out right now. Go and get it. The Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury recap. We're all Jake Paul'd out here on AC Radio, and I'm sure you are too. So we got to get right to it. Could you believe it? He's back. Jon freaking Jones. Jon Jones is back in the UFC's heavyweight division fighting Cyril Gane, who just lost to, I guess now, the former heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou, who basically said, UFC, I'm out of here. I want to be a free agent now. I want to go test out the boxing market, go test out and see what PFL, Bellator, One Championship, maybe Gamebred FC or Eagle FC have to offer. You know what I'm saying? So, that's an interesting topic in itself, because Chael Sonnen actually brought a certain argument up on Helwani's show about what it means to be a free agent. But I'm not going to go off on a tangent there. We got to get back to the business here. Man, Jon Jones is back, a 3-year hiatus. This guy, one of the best we've ever seen in the UFC. And, I've been critical of him. But I got to say, we're turning over a new leaf here. Obviously, maybe we're not forgetting about some of the things that he's done. But for the most part, what we're really hoping for is that he steps in the octagon on Saturday night. Because it's happened before where the rug has been pulled on us as fans and as media members and as even the opponent that he was supposed to fight. Jon Jones has a habit sometimes of not showing up on the night. So fingers crossed that he does. But let's get right into it, because, Cyril Gane is getting a second crack now at the title. He was the interim heavyweight champion, fought Francis Ngannou for the title, and he lost. And he's getting a second crack now against Johnny Bones Jones, who's easily the UFC light heavyweight great of all time. Also one of the greatest fighters and champions that we've ever seen, who obviously has one of the great asterisks on his name due to the PEDs in the past. But we're not going down that road today, but we have to bring it up. But, listen, this is one of these fights where when a guy like Jon Jones takes a 3-year hiatus and has the opportunity to go from the 205 division to the heavyweight division, you got to think to yourself that we're in for something special. This isn't, Conor McGregor stepping on the scale at 170 and just didn't have to cut a pound and he's fighting at his walk-around weight. This isn't that. This is Jon Jones, who used to weigh in at 205 or 206 pounds, mostly 205 because he's always a champion, to now getting the possibility of weighing in at virtually whatever he wants up to 265 pounds. This is a whole other ball game. You could say whatever you want about Jon Jones, but he has a tendency to always do the right things the right way when he is focused and locked in and ready to go in camp. Okay? His nutrition is always on point. If you follow him on social media, when Jon Jones is in bulking season, he's got more plates and more dates than your fellow YouTuber Derek does. I'll tell you that now. Okay? He's got oatmeal on omelets when it's breakfast time for Johnny Bones Jones. He's got his nutrition in check. He's lifting heavy in the gym. And not only that, he also now has a private camp just dedicated for him, which I think is still something that we're behind in the MMA scene. There are certain coaches like a Trevor Whitman who only has 4 or 5 pro MMA fighters and UFC champions and contenders that are in different weight classes and even different genders. So they don't really ever scratch the surface with each other. They have that. But Johnny Bones Jones, man's got a different ball game here. He's got Yorgan de Castro, a big boy heavyweight, a stockier one that likes to slang and bang and will help condition and acclimate Jon Jones to the heavyweight division with more of a wild, barbaric tie to a Vasa, Roy Nelson, maybe a Derek Lewis type of style. Then he's also got Maurice Green, who's a far taller guy, similar to a Stefan Struve. Similar to a Alex Volkov, similar to maybe even a Curtis Blazers, maybe a touch shorter, but you catch my drift. And Jon Jones states that Maurice Green is a guy who never misses a practice. And that's somebody that when you're paying him there to be your sparring partner, that's exactly what you need. Because one of the most common things that we see when fighters get paid or flown out to become sparring partners, they end up flying home because it's not worth the paycheck. Because in the back of their mind, some of them one day think that they're going to fight this guy. So why the fuck am I going to take the ass kicking now? And lastly, Walt Harris. Walt Harris, a southpaw, a veteran of the sport. He's been in the sport a very long time. And Walt Harris is also no stranger to tragedy as well. Do your research on what happened to his daughter. It was a tragedy. So forget about it, not only from a performance standpoint of training against a southpaw and a big, dense heavyweight, but also think about the mentorship and the leadership and the conversations that Johnny Bones Jones and Walt Harris are having behind the scenes. Think about that. That's a figurehead that Jon Jones needs in his career right now. So congrats to Jon Jones on putting together a great camp. He's always well-conditioned when he's locked and loaded and ready to go. And the thing that we're wondering is what's the ground game situation going to be like? Because let's call it spade a spade here. Jon Jones, okay, has great kickboxing. He's got decent boxing. He's got good Muay Thai. Okay, and he's got a good stance to him and an unconventional one at that, where he'll be throwing those kicks, knees, and elbows and punches from different places than Cyril Gane is used to, especially if you're comparing it to his last opponent, who's a lot more predictable in a Francis Ngannou. Then you have Cyril Gane, who's a great kickboxer, a great Muay Thai fighter. He's got good boxing as well. Listen, the French are no stranger to the striking realm. And of course, that some of them as well have good jiu-jitsu and good wrestling, etc. But that wasn't the path that Cyril Gane grew up in. He grew up more in the stand-up game, in the kickboxing and the Muay Thai. And his style does sort a lot of Muay Thai. He's got great knees in the clinch. He's got great elbows. He's no stranger to finishing fighters. But he's got a great sideways stance to him with a good bounce. And he's very loose with that jab as well, and he's a southpaw. So it's an interesting matchup. But the point I'm making here is that Jon Jones is an unconventional striker. And I think that Cyril Gane is far more conventional. And that should make for an interesting matchup on the feet. But the biggest wild card to me is what happens when it gets to the ground. Because Francis Ngannou was able to hold down Cyril Gane to reclaim his title. More conventionally, more cookie cutter, etc. But man, Jon Jones is a Division III decorated wrestler. He's used his wrestling only for the benefit in the octagon. And to pair it with, he's got some of the most vicious ground and pound in the game. Elbows and punches coming from all angles, okay? And when you're someone like Cyril Gane, who already isn't very comfortable off of his back, to, shrimp and try to revert back to guard or revert back to half guard or try to get up, per se, when you got a guy like Jon Jones hitting you from all angles, it's going to be tough. And I don't know how Cyril Gane is going to make up for that. Because let's just say he's not just going to be there lying down on his back, taking those punches and elbows from Jon Jones. And if he can't get out of the position using good jiu-jitsu or good grappling, he might find himself in a tough spot where he rolls over to turtle and Jon Jones can sink in a choke. I don't think that that's, a crazy theory. I think that the ground and pound and the ground game of Jon Jones is the biggest red flag that Cyril Gane needs to watch out for. I'm not sure right now who the training partners are of Cyril Gane, but if I'm comparing camps right now, from what we've seen, obviously, behind the scenes, it's always the story of Cyril and his coach working together alone. Whereas Jon Jones, it seems like the story is that he's working in a team environment in the nitty-gritty Albuquerque, New Mexico, which he loves to call home. It's hard waking up to run 10 miles when you're waking up in silk sheets. And it looks like Jon Jones, who has tasted life and luxury, having a sponsorship from Nike and Gatorade and made millions in the octagon, has reverted back to more humble means. And that could sometimes pose for a very, very challenging matchup. So it's going to be a good one because, it's always exciting to have Johnny Bones Jones back. And that is something that fans have been looking forward to for 3 years' time now. Hopefully being able to rewrite some wrongs once again. I hope the argument is put to rest on what song Jon Jones should walk out to. I mean, let's be real here. You got to go out with Diddy, I'm Coming Home. Then you go right into 50 Cent, God Gave Me Style, God Gave Me Grace. And then after that, whatever flavor Jon Jones wants to put on it at the end is up to him. But, going with that staple Diddy to 50 Cent is an absolute must. I know one time he came out to Jammin' by Jon Jones. I think that was against Chael Sonnen, but don't think he had much to worry about that one to need much of a track to pump him up. But we'll see what happens on Saturday night. We have, Jon Jones back in the UFC's heavyweight division. He's one of the best. He's one of the most well-rounded. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's somebody that you have to watch out for from all angles. But one thing that we're wondering is what Jon Jones is going to show up. Because if we compare the Jon Jones that went on that great title run versus maybe his last 5 fights, it's a different Jon Jones. Minus the DC performances, I think a lot of people weren't quite impressed with what Jon Jones had to offer, especially in the Dominic Reyes fight as well. Did that have to do with the headspace? Did it have to do with the weight cut? Did it have to do with the sheer motivation and maybe that fear that he needed to help drive him in the training room to prepare for some of these light heavyweights? Maybe there was something missing there. One thing that we know about Jon Jones is that he ain't afraid of anything. Maybe he needed to go to the heavyweight division to regain some of that fear, to regain some of those shivers that, we're in here now, baby. We're in the arena now. We're in the heavyweight division now. Maybe that's what Jon needed. Maybe he needed to fear his opponents more. Maybe he needed to wake up in the morning with a little bit of that devil on your shoulder saying, I'm coming for you, boy. Maybe that's what he needed. Because he's going to get that now in the UFC's heavyweight division. Is it the best we've ever seen right now? No, Jon is actually coming in at the perfect time. He's coming in at the perfect time. I don't know if he's going to have the best cream of the crop in front of him per se. But, when you're getting in there against the UFC heavyweights, there is a lot on the line with every single punch, and it doesn't always go the favorite's way in those matchups. And I think that that's something and a driving force that Jon Jones needed to get him up in the morning. And let me tell you, with Cyril Gane, you have that. A decorated striker, great Muay Thai, great kickboxing, a great jab. He's got a good bounce to him. He's going to give Jon looks that I don't really think any of his training partners that he's shown us so far can help him prepare for. I will admit that, which is a tough run. And, Cyril Gane just has a way of being so technical with his strikes and makes himself as a heavyweight appear as a welterweight, And I think that Jon Jones is looking to go in there against Gane and kind of show like I'm a light heavyweight who's now a heavyweight and I'm fighting like a heavyweight. So, I'd like to see how flat-footed and how heavy on the front foot Jon Jones is going to be, if he's going to be headhunting on the feet, etc. But we'll find out on Saturday night. I'm looking forward to it. Cyril Gane versus Jon Jones for the UFC heavyweight title. Both guys are a force to be reckoned with. It doesn't end here after this matchup. I'm sure these guys will either rematch or fight each other down the line because the UFC's heavyweight division, A, ain't that thick, and B, these are the two that the world does indeed have to offer. So AC Radio giving you your second episode of the week. Let me know in the comments section how you like that second dose of AC. And, we're just on and ready and pumping. I did a podcast with Main Event Radio, Ryan Ryder. He gave me one of my first opportunities in radio. He threw me in the deep end, having me interview the great Patrick Cote, a legend in Montreal, who had the opportunity of fighting, of course, Anderson Silva for the UFC middleweight title. And I just went on his show. We spoke about WWE's Elimination Chamber. I'm a jack of all trades. If you want me on your show for anything and everything, I'm your Huckabee. So AC Radio, good tidings, baby.
Big G's, no design on my jacket. Work hard and I'm changing my bracket. Talk tough, we ain't hear that racket. Dogs came in, you know how to stack it. Take it wrong, but I'ma need my ends though. I got tigers on my chest like Kenzo. Rail came, yeah, he putting that Benz though. Carol's here, man, you know he stay 10 toes. Big dog, man, you know I ain't worried. Bent up, so I'm talking real slow.